Hey guys, how you doing? I'm Kent Tilley, and today I want to talk to you about the proposed Alberta Pension Plan. And if you're new to this channel, you might be asking yourself, like, what does this monotone loser know about CPP? And that's a really good question. Turns out that I have been teaching Canadians on YouTube for over 8 years about retirement planning and money and CPP. And, I get it. I'm slow, I'm boring, but I'm pretty sure that I know a little bit more than most people about CPP. And the Alberta Government has come out with a video explaining why we need to move from the CPP to their Alberta Pension Plan. And they've given us an entire 1 minute and 46-second video to explain why they're going to change and improve our lives. And it doesn't really give us any explanations or answers, so I want to talk to you guys about that today. What I've done is I've used these videos as a tool to help me create a business where I teach people. I do know what I'm talking about, and I'm gonna have to teach you guys, and we're gonna watch this video together. We're going to talk about some of the reasons that are just totally misleading, some of the reasons that I totally disagree with, and a few of the reasons why I think this actually makes a little bit of sense. I'm trying to be unbiased. I'm not completely unbiased because I think this is a bad idea for Canada. That's my opinion. If you want to argue with me, you can. Don't say how shitty the Oilers are. We know. So let's get into this video. We'll watch it together. I love watching videos. I'm glad our taxpayers paid for this.
Alberta's government is exploring a new possibility, an Alberta Pension Plan, or APP for short. You might be wondering, what's in it for you? You see, in 2020, Alberta's government commissioned LifeWorks, an independent third-party consultant, to review the potential for an Alberta pension plan. Their analysis found many benefits for Albertans. That's because Alberta's young working population and more jobs with higher wages.
Yeah, I just need to stop for a second real quick because I like to ask questions. How much of our money did they use for this? Because I could have come in and they could have asked me these questions in the beginning, and for $20 I could have been like, here's some answers to these questions without me looking into it. And a lot of the benefits that they're about to make up in this report aren't true. So we need to talk about that. The question I want to know is, how much did this actually cost for a 3-year report that obviously wasn't totally independent? You think they hired somebody completely independent to do this?
Has resulted in Albertans over-contributing tens of billions into the CPP compared to the benefits we've received.
Okay, so the first one was that it says Albertans have over-contributed $60 billion to CPP compared to regular Canadians. What you need to understand is how we contribute to CPP. So this doesn't make any sense based on just you thinking about this in general. Okay, so we pay into CPP above $3,500. Every dollar we make above $3,500, which is the yearly basic exemption, up to YMPE, which is the yearly maximum pensionable earnings. And right now, in 2023, the yearly maximum pensionable earnings are $66,600. We, as Albertans, pay 5.95% of our salary between those two numbers into CPP. Our employer also pays 5.95% into CPP on our behalf, up to the yearly maximum pensionable earnings. After that $66,600, we are done contributing to CPP for that year. So if you make double $66,600, you're only paying into CPP for 6 months of the year, and then you're not paying any more. So yes, Albertans do make slightly higher average income than average Canadians. And when I looked at that, what was the average? The average income in Alberta is $66,768. So the average Albertan is just contributing the maximum amount. And the average Canadian makes $62,764. So they're contributing 94% into CPP. So we are contributing slightly more. That's true. But are we contributing that much more that we deserve this? The other thing is, those people that are only paying 94% into it are only getting 94% out of it. And we are getting a higher CPP benefit when we retire because we've maxed out our CPP. If you only made half of YMP your entire working career, so you're making $33,300, you're contributing 50% into CPP up to what your maximum could be, then you are only going to get half of the benefit because you haven't paid enough into the Canada Pension Plan. So it has there's no bearing on how much anybody else put in because it doesn't have anything to do with how much you're getting out. So that is just sort of misleading a little bit. It really does not matter if they're putting less in because you're going to get a bigger benefit if you make more money. That's how it works. So I don't like that one. So whatever. We'll keep watching. We're 30 seconds in. Few more super fun points we got to come to.
Into the CPP compared to the benefits we've received. This means that Albertans could save over $5 billion in just the first year if we moved from the CPP to an Alberta Pension.
We could save over $5 billion a year. I think I know how they're claiming this is going to happen. And so I got to talk about that in a minute once we get into things, because since 2019 up to 2025, there have been changes to CPP. It's called the CPP Enhancement Phase 1, which we're done now. So in 2019, we put in 4.95% of our income up to YMPE, and over the last 5 years, it's increased up to 5.95% each. And then next year and the year after, we're getting into Phase 2, where people that make above YMPE have to pay like a weird portion along with their employer into this for Phase 2. And the reason why they're doing this, it sucks. Like, this sucks for small business owners. This sucks for employees that are dealing with inflation right now. This sucks for all of us. But why they're doing it is because when CPP was set up, it was supposed to recreate 25% of our income in retirement up to average income, which is YMPE. And these enhancements to CPP are supposed to create up to 1/3 by the time people that are entering the workforce now retire, because there's less defined benefit pension plans, there's less saving going on, all of these things. So the government of Canada is basically forcing us to pay more into the pension plan so that less retirees are reliant on our other two pension plans, which are Old Age Security and GIS, which is the Guaranteed Income Supplement. So that's what's going on there. That's where I think they think they can save the money is by, can we make this work without having people having to enter into phase 2 of the enhancement to CPP? And I don't know how their math works, their calculations, and I'll show you in a bit, are hilarious.
Plan. These savings could increase each senior's monthly pension payment, or even...
Okay, they're saying they're going to increase each senior's pension payment, but pay less into it. I mean, the smartest mathematicians in the country deal with how much we put in to figure out how much we can take out without having an insolvent pension plan. And they're not saying that that could work, but somehow this independent study figured it out. How? And why don't they just go to Canada and say, we can actually do this for the whole country? Shouldn't we work together? The whole world is screwed up and we're like, let's separate everything in Canada and become weaker as a country. Well, the whole world is screwed. Anyways, now I'm just going on a rant.
And provide a large bonus payment for seniors at retirement.
Right, a bonus payment. So this isn't buying votes. We're going to give every senior a $5,000 to $10,000 bonus if you vote to allow us to do this. What is the ulterior motive here? And I'm going to talk about that in a second too, because I actually have some good experience about talking about why they have this motive.
Or, these savings could be used to save Alberta workers up to $1,425 in payroll deductions every year.
So that $1,425 to the employee and the employer, I'm sure that's where it's coming from, is from that change in the enhancement to CPP. So they're saying, you guys don't have to pay into that anymore. And as a small business owner, this would be extremely helpful. Because right now, like as everything comes up, because for example, as me as an employee, I have to pay 5.95% as me as an employee and 5.95% as the employer to me. So I'm paying close to 12% into CPP on, my salary up to YMPE. Now everybody that works for me, I have to pay more into CPP every year because it keeps going up, and next year and in 2025 it's going to go up dramatically again for anybody that makes over YMPE. And every other thing that small business owners are dealing with right now, higher rent, higher lease, higher materials, worse profit margins, all of those things, yes, we need some help right now. But there are better solutions than this. But whatever, nobody wants to talk about those better solutions. So let's keep going into this.
And if you're a business owner, small, medium, or large, an APP could reduce the premiums you pay each year by up to $1,425 per employee. Along with more money in your pocket, an APP would be more stable than the current CPP.
This is my favorite one. An Alberta Pension Plan would be more stable than the Canada Pension Plan. How? It has less money. We have an economy that is pretty much strictly reliant on the price of a commodity that obviously goes up and down. What happens if everybody loses their job in Alberta in 1 year because oil goes down to zero again? Who's paying into that? The diversity of Canada is way stronger than the diversity of Alberta. How in the world do you think that this is going to be more stable? It has less money to work with. It has less diversity. It's more reliant on a commodity that goes like this. And the CPP, no matter what you think, In 2008, there were rumblings of CPP maybe running out of money, and it was very worrisome until they actually looked and they said this thing is solvent for at least 80 to 90 years, and it is really, really well invested, not by Justin Trudeau. It is invested by a firm that has nothing to do with the government of Canada, that buys safe, good investments and invests it like it's a pension plan in things that make sense, that are diversified across the globe. What the Alberta Pension Plan wants to do is pull as much money as humanly possible out of the Canada Pension Plan to invest into Alberta. This would work really well short term for Alberta. It would make these politicians today look like heroes, because now Alberta has tons of money invested back into Alberta with our own money, but takes diversification of Albertans' entire pension plan off of the table. And how do I know this? Because a few years ago, without asking them, they said, we're going to steal the teachers in Alberta's pension plan, move it away from a good pension plan that was invested well, and give it to our friends at AIMCO to invest it the way that we want, so that more money can be invested into Alberta. And we're not going to thank the Alberta teachers for a second for giving us $9 billion to actually help the Alberta economy. We're just going to take their money and do that because they didn't have to ask the teachers. Well, guess what? They have to ask us, and I do not want our entire pension plan invested into Alberta because that's too risky. Too risky. You want to invest everything you have into oil and gas. You go and do it then. But I'm not going to do that. That's not how anybody should invest.
An asset transfer of over $300 billion from the CPP to an APP?
This is the best. An asset transfer of $334 billion from CPP into the Alberta Pension Plan. There is currently $570 billion in CPP. And this independent report somehow calculated that Alberta is entitled to $334 billion of that 570. That is 58.5% of CPP that Alberta thinks it's entitled to. I don't know. I'm pretty sure our population in Alberta isn't 58.5% of Canada. Why would any Canadian be like, take 60% of our pension, you guys can deal with it, but you get no benefit from that? Our population makes up 11.4% of Canada. How are we entitled to 58.5%? What are you talking about? Like, I mean, the math says that we're entitled to maybe $65 billion. 11.4% of 570 billion. Yeah, the average Canadian was putting in 94%. Well, we're putting in 100. Okay, maybe a little uptick. But an uptick of 50% or like 47 extra percent of that money? Where are you coming up with this? Who are these independent people doing this math? Pay me millions of dollars to do math that bad. Please. My God.
Mean a more secure pension for Albertans. And agreements would be developed to allow Albertans to move throughout Canada without impacting their pension benefits.
Wow, we can move throughout Canada. Yeah, that's fine. Like Quebec has their own pension plan. They did it. I don't know how they did it. Yeah, they can move and still get it. Of course, it's your money. You can move to the States and still get CPP. You can move anywhere in the world. It's your money. Like, oh, you're going to handcuff us to the province of Alberta.
To be clear, there will be no move to an Alberta pension plan unless Albertans approve it in a referendum. It's your pension, your choice. So learn more and have your say at albertapensionplan.ca.
So, I mean, I guess I just wish that they would have said, can we vote on doing this report? And then ask some people before that knew some stuff that weren't politicians with their own short-term agenda, whether or not we should even entertain this as an idea. Because that's the thing about, you know, money and politicians and everything that is happening right now. Everything that is wrong with this is, you know, everybody's looking at short-term today things that make them look good for a second and kicking the can down the road where there are real problems that have real solutions that we can talk about, but we don't want to because it's just making enemies of people that should be our allies. Canada can be really strong. Alberta can be really strong. Alberta's a big part of it. I love Alberta. I love the business in Alberta. I am not opposed to any of that stuff. However, this is not the answer. That's my opinion. I would love I'd argue anybody on this. And who knows? But make your vote. Make your voice count. If you think this is a good move, then do it. Let's do it. Bye.